Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining, for registering for this session. It's my contribution for cybersecurity professionals that are trying to either start or advance their career. And so when I was thinking about it, I thought that it would be good to go to the end, which is the purpose of joining the career is to work. So let's go to the end of the journey, which is let's go to what the market is looking for, the requirement, and then use that requirement to help people progress their career, whether they want to switch whatever career they are in to cybersecurity, or they want to know the progress they can make in cybersecurity in whatever country they are, and become a better professional. So I came up with the idea of a cybersecurity mentoring group. Now, this group might end with this call because it is to get people started and help them chart a path for their career. The alternative is that I might then invite experienced professional in the field to come take a particular job and then dimension it, something that they do every day in their workplace, and dimension it for us to be able to see the path in that area. But for this particular session, it is to share my research. Again, I didn't do it alone, so I asked for volunteer and they also participated. So just going straight ahead is the research. So what is this research? I thought that we can look at the employment market and what employers are looking for in cybersecurity professionals. And basically, we're looking at the role, the requirements, and where do they need these people. So I put up a link on Twitter and I asked people who would like to join this session, a cybersecurity mentoring session. And then I thought that let's prepare the ground for the program. I asked for volunteers, 16 people volunteered. So I don't know their names, but I have their Twitter handle, and I'm just showing you and using this opportunity also to thank them for volunteering their time. So they volunteer to help us look at jobs, and so we created a database of jobs. So the 16 guys on the list, thank you for that time. The body of work you did is what I have analyzed, and I'm presenting some of the findings that would help you in your career. Now, where did I look at? So we looked at job sites. So we formed a group. We called it the Canada team, the UK team, and the US team. Of course, we have the Nigerian team, but I must also confess that I did the Nigerian part. We did not have a lot of jobs in cybersecurity in Nigeria. So it's almost like cybersecurity is a new environment or a new field in Nigeria. So there was not much vacancies, but majority of our vacancies are UK, Canada, and the US. And so these are the job sites. So we divided the team into three. One person could be working for Canada and another for UK. The person could also be doing for UK. So we kind of share the entire job sites across board. And we were able to get close to, I think, about 1,600 or 700 jobs that we looked at. And then, so we looked at the industry, the employer, the requirement, the certifications, the tools. So it is important that you know what the market is looking for. Having certification is good, but what certification do employers want? And then I thought we could put it into something that people can refer to in the future, which is the sought after cybersecurity skills, competencies, and certification. So we basically look at jobs from January to August 2023. and looking across Nigeria, Canada, US, and UK. So this material will then be published once I finish this session, because there's a lot of work that needs to be, just a short, maybe not up to 10 pages, that will be shared, and you can then have it and download. Again, my name is Wale Micaiah. My role and journey from cybersecurity started some 18 years ago. And so I've been in the field of IT, and I made transition from networking, and the networking really started when I was in university. So I could assemble a computer. I could build network. In fact, then I was making helping cyber cafes to network and build systems. So that was my background before I entered into employment. And when I entered into employment, I didn't have the opportunity to join what I would call the IT department, because again, my first degree is mathematics and statistics. So there were that limitation of getting into a field because you didn't study the course. So eventually, I find my way into IT, and I find my way into, from networking. Then the head of security invited me to join security in one of Nigeria's largest telco. And so that was where I started my journey in security. Again, it was cyber became something that we now refer to, but everything was just information security then. So it is from that experience. So having worked in security and worked in different sectors, I thought I could share something that could help people who are starting up their career in that field, and if you want to come into that field. Now, before I go into unveiling the outcome of that piece of work, I thought I could share this. So this is from the United States of America, and this is the workforce framework for cybersecurity. Basically, it's a body of knowledge for people who work in the field, and they've assembled that piece of work into task area, knowledge statements, skills, and abilities. So if you say, for instance, you are a network administrator, for instance, there are tasks that are expected of a network administrator. There are knowledge that are expected. There are skills and there are ability. So this body of work has been put together by the country, United States, and they use it to develop. So employer use this to, for instance, know if someone is fit for a role. So if you come for a job and you say you're a network administrator, it is not unlikely that your interview will come from that body of work. So there's a knowledge statement, there's a task statement, there's ability, and there are skills that is expected of you. And why is this important? It is for you to know what your employer is expecting you to know, so that you can prepare yourself for that kind of expectation. And the way they have arranged the book is that they assume that the cybersecurity sphere is divided into 7, which is, there are parts that are for, I'll go from the middle and I'll spread to left and right, for securely provisions, which is to conceptualize, design, procure, and build information security technology with the responsibility for aspects of systems and network and development. Then there are some that will operate and maintain. There are some that will oversee and govern. Some will protect and defend. Some will analyze. Some will collect and operate, and some will investigate. Again, you can refer to this material online. It's available. So the link, the material is NIST. So I'm sure you're familiar with NIST, Special Publication 800. Again, I'm speaking to people that are in the field. Also, people that would like to join cybersecurity or start that journey. So you can go online and you will get this material. NIST is one of the most fantastic cybersecurity resources you can think of. Now, so they've arranged the body of knowledge in this way, which means that you can be in oversee and govern, and your role will be to provide leadership, management, direction, or development and advocacy so the organization may effectively conduct cybersecurity work. Yours may be in protect and defend, which is identify, analyze, and mitigate threats to internal information. Whatever your area, they've designed this body of work, and then they've gone granular to say, if you are under securely provision, which is to conceptualizes, designs, procures, and builds, these are the other areas that you are likely to be working in. First is you will have risk management. So risk management is under this session. Then you have, I'm trying to move okay, my screen is something coming up on my screen. Okay, you have risk management, you have software development, system architecture, technology, system requirement, and the rest. So there's no space to show everybody, but everything, but each of them have their own respective area. If I go forward, I just picked out risk management under the securely provision, and I pick risk management. Under risk management, we have software development. Sorry, under securely provision, we have risk management and these other 6 areas. Under risk management, you then have authorizing official, designating representative, authorizing official or designating representative, and then you have security control assessor, and then you have others. What I have done is to zero in on security control assessor. So if you are a security control assessor, what are you expected to know? And what exactly is security assessor, control assessor? It means that you will conduct independent comprehensive assessments of the management, operational, and technical security controls and control enhancements employed within or inherited by an IT system to determine the overall effectiveness of the control. That's basically what you are doing. So if they ask you and you say you are a security control assessor, your work is basically to provide independent assessment of different types of control. And if you're familiar with NIST, there's a family of control that you are supposed to be able to assess. And NIST 853 has one for assessments, which you can use. So what are you expected to do? The specialty is, so the specialty or the task statement, the specialty is risk management. The work role is security control assessor. Now, the knowledge, the skill, and ability that is required are then itemized, and I will go straight ahead to it. So we have the task statements. Now, there are many. There are 21 tasks that are required for someone who is a security control assessor. You will plan and conduct security authorization reviews and assurance case development for initial installation of systems and network. So there are 21 of these. I just identified just this number. So there are task statements that are expected or that the person who is a security control assessor will be carrying out. The next one is the knowledge that is expected of a task of a security control. I'm trying something is coming up on my screen. Let me try to remove it. Sorry, just give me a second. All right, I think it's better managed now. All right. Now, so this is the knowledge that is expected of a security control assessor. Knowledge of IT, supply chain security, and supply chain risk management policy requirements and procedure. So if you are a security control assessor, for instance, what this is telling you is that you are expected to know about the supply chain security and supply chain risk management policies, requirements, and procedures. That's basically what this is saying. You are expected to know the laws and the policies and procedures or governance relevant to cybersecurity for critical infrastructure. There are 53 of them. Then the skills that are expected. You are skilled in identifying measures or indicator of system performance and the actions needed to improve or correct performance relative to the goal of the system, and on and on. So I'm not going through all of them, but there are 68 skills that are expected of a control assessor according to that body of work. Then there are 49 abilities. So you're able to translate data and test results into evaluative conclusion. You're able to apply the ability to apply collaborative skills and strategies, and ability to apply critical reading and thinking skills, ability to ensure security practices are followed throughout the acquisition process. So what does this really help you to achieve? It means that if you are currently a security control assessor, you know what you don't know. So out of all of these 21 tasks that are here or that are in the book, you should be able to go through it and then evaluate yourself to know which of them is strange to you, which of the knowledge, which of the skills, and which of the ability, which of them do you find that you're not very conversant with. Then that informs what you need to do. Also, if you're looking for a role in control assessor, as a control assessor, what should you be going for to develop yourself? That piece of work also, that's what it should help you to do. It is basically to help you to plan your development and see how you are able to then improve your knowledge of these areas. And if, for instance, you are interested in being a security control assessor and you are in another role, you definitely then know whether this is something you would like to do or you want to continue on your path. So that, in my view, is what you should do. Pick the cybersecurity capabilities, the NICE framework, and then look at it. Again, it's stated there that the work role there does not exactly mean that it is a job title, right? You could have multiple job roles that are combined into one. As you also have seen here that in the specialty area, we have software development, security architecture, and under system architecture, for instance, there's enterprise architect and there's security architect. And both of them you could find somebody that says, this is my role. And you have test and evaluation, and you have a software development. Somebody could be a software developer and also taking up the role of software assessor, all the skills that are needed for a software assessor. So the person is almost like a double edged, right? Having the competence of an assessor and also as a developer. All right, so that's just something that I thought I should share because it's very important for you to know where can you go to when you need something to grow your skills. All right, so we will go into the proper work that we've done. So first, before I do that, is to look at the cybersecurity pathway. Cybersecurity pathway as published by the UK. So there's this UK labor market skill, cybersecurity skill that they do publish every year. And in that publication, they said that, they said that half of businesses, that's 50% of businesses, have just one employee that is responsible for cybersecurity. So imagine that businesses, whether they are 50 or 40 or 100, they just have one employee that is responsible for cybersecurity. What that tells you is that there are more opportunities in that field, right? Larger organizations continue to be better resourced, although even in these organizations, cyber teams of more than 5 people are very rare. So again, it talks about the scarcity of the professionals in that field. Next, it says, within the cyber sector, 47% enter their current job after being employed in a previous role. So what this means is that if you are in IT or you are in different role entirely, there are 47 out of 100 people like you that are entering into cybersecurity job. So by contrast, outside the sector, staff performing cybersecurity duties or cyber duties in-house are overwhelmingly transitioning from a non-cyber role, and that's what 84%. So people that are currently in cybersecurity role today, they were probably playing other roles. And like I told you in my own story, when I joined telco, I was into, so the project then was to make Nigeria to more like ensure that every Nigerian have a SIM card. So I was in the project team in that organization. Then one day then because I was in project team, I had a lot to do with the guys in IT. So I woke up to the CISO. No, it's not CISO, CIO, and I told him I love what he's doing. And he said, "Oh, thank you." And I told him that, "Oh, and I'm interested and I would love to join you." And he said, "Well, from time to time we do have vacancies. Maybe you can just be on the lookout." And so I was on the lookout. And one day they published that they needed people to join IT. And I saw that they needed just information technology. So they needed people in help desk. And I was like, no, 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 no. What I know in IT, I shouldn't be doing help desk. That would have been a great mistake for my life. So I didn't apply. Then somehow I just went to our HR and I was speaking to, so no, the HR called me and said, "Hi, Wale. Did you see the vacancy?" I said, "Yes." "Have you applied?" I said, No, it's not something I'm looking for." Apparently, the CIO had gone to meet the HR and asked if I applied. So the HR called me and I said, "I'm not interested. That's not what I want." So coincidentally, I went to that. So no, so I now when I dropped the call and I spoke to a friend in the office, I said, the HR just called me for this thing, and I'm not interested in that. That's not what I want. I want this is what I want. I wanted database. I wanted to do, database telco. And my friends told me, why don't you just try? It is easier to get your leg. When you get your leg in, you can easily move around. So I decided to go try. So I walked to the HR and I told the HR, I said, I want to apply. I said, "Apply for what?" I said, "But I just called you." Thankfully, the CIO just walked, and so the woman saw the CIO and then decided to give me attention. So she asked me, "Okay, what is your name?" I gave her my name. The way she was typing, if you can hear my thing, somebody was just typing. So I knew that I had offended the woman. So he asked my name, asked my discipline. I said I studied mathematics and studies. He said, "What?" Just type. Say, "How many certifications do you have?" I said, "I don't have any." Say, "What?" So she typed, they said your interview is about in 15 minutes. Wow, 15 minutes. So I decided to, just do my best. So they needed 6 people. And because I had done networking, while in school, I'd attended training in database and in networking. By the time went for the interview, and I was telling them what I could do with systems and how I could, take system apart and assemble them, network a cyber cafe and all of those things. They needed 6 people for help desk. They took 7. They took me, instead of putting me in help desk, they took me and put me in networking. That was how I started my journey into IT. So in case you are in an area of IT that you're thinking, no, this will not, no, don't discount that experience. It's an opportunity, because if your leg is in, your leg can easily work within than coming from outside. Now that's a distraction. Let's go back to our lectures. When looking at the 16 special, so the UK then developed a roadmap, a cybersecurity pathway, and they have 16 areas that you can explore. They said the highest prevalence across cyber firms was security generalists. So people that do not really have technical background, that is the area that a lot of people go into, and they said the 61% of firm have employees working in this role. And what exactly is this about? So I also took a page from that book. So if you want to download it, it's available online, and you can just get some experience about it. So it said percentage of cyber workforce who have employees working in the 16 areas that they have defined. 61% is in security generalist. And if you go to the website, you will find who are the security generalists, security management, and you will see the list area is in cryptography and communication security. So you can decide, do you want to play in the, where there are a lot of people, where you want to play in the middle or you want to play at the bottom? And I know which one pays more, so you have to, but first is that you have to look for the one that you are most interested in, because cybersecurity is not, it's sexy by name, but it's not a very easy field, right? People run away from it, let me put it that way. So if you are interested in it, please take your time. Now, these are some of the links that you can go to go assess yourself. So if you are starting out, and you can go to this website, and it will be able to tell you which area you should start with from the 16 areas. So this is one link. So it will ask you basic question, either you are unfamiliar, you have some knowledge, or you have advanced knowledge. And by the time you finish the questions, it will tell you, why don't you explore this area? And you can read more about it. The same thing, I'm just looking at different website that has produce material in this area. So this is also another area. So the 16 areas are digital forensic, cyber threats, cyber security, identity access, and all of that. You just go online and you can find your way around that. Then this is also another site. They are all the same thing, but some of them are able to connect. For instance, some will be able to tell you the generalist and this cybersecurity generalist, cybersecurity management, and maybe data protection and privacy, they are related. So they will tell you that relationship that exists between the area. They could also tell you that cyber threat intelligence, I know cyber threat intelligence, vulnerability management will be related. Cyber security assurance, cyber security governance, data protection, generalist, and security management will be related. So they kind of give you a pathway. Either you go to the left and pick the those that are related to it, or you go to the right and pick whatever you're interested in. You can explore. All right, so now back to the research. So what we did was to look at those sites and download the jobs, right? And you will agree with me that it's a lot. Downloading almost 2,000 jobs, determining what are their requirements, what are the tools that they require. So in every job description, you will find what they think you should know, or know what you are coming to do, right? Which is this job is about this. Then you will have what your experience is or should be. So you should have experience in A, B, C, and your qualification. Yeah, your qualification and certifications and the tools and everything that you need. The core and the general areas that they think you need to be you need to have something in. And so after all of the collation and sorting and cleaning of the data, we then, so just by the job title without trying to combine. So if you look at the screen, you could see that there's something on information security manager, sorry, information security engineer, which is the 20th, and senior security engineer and security manager. But we just took the title as published. So these are the bottom 6 roles that at least they made the top 20. So application security engineer, cyber security analyst, SOC. So you would, in some jobs, the cyber security is written as one word. And that's one thing I just discovered that so it differs from country to country, I think. I noticed that in UK jobs, they don't write cyber security as one word. They separate cyber and security. While in some American jobs, they combine it. In Canadian jobs, they combine it. Again, it's just some of the country specific. Then you have information security engineer, cyber security analyst, and application security engineer, 20th. Then joint 17th, security engineer, information security specialist, and information security manager. In my role in telco, I was information security specialist. Okay. Then the next four: cybersecurity architect, cybersecurity manager, information security officer, IT security analyst, and cloud security engineer. Now, this is not about importance, it's about frequency. So if you go online, how you are more likely to find these job titles than any other jobs. That's what this is about. So it's not saying that IT security analyst is more important than application security engineer. No, it's about there are a lot of people, a lot of job titles with these titles. So we'll go to the next. Making up of the top 9 or top 10 is cybersecurity consultant, cybersecurity specialist, cybersecurity engineer, and SOC analyst, SOC security operations center, penetration tester, and security engineer. Again, you can see there's some relationship between, for instance, information security specialist or information security officer. You can see cybersecurity specialist and information security specialist. Now, the top number 1 job title is cybersecurity analyst. Then you have information security analyst. People then may want to ask, what exactly is the difference between information security analyst and cybersecurity analyst? Again, if we would not want to argue about the difference between cybersecurity and information security is broader, right? It deals with the entire IT infrastructure, whether they are connected to the network or not connected to the network. Once it gets into the cyberspace, once it gets into being internet-worked and available everywhere, anywhere, it enters into the space of cyber. So if you are in information security and you are asked to be signing paper or carrying out some kind of biometric assessment and the rest, that is in the remit of physical security. Let me put it that way. Again, there's physical security in cyber because if you have servers in a particular location, you want to secure that location even though you are not there. Again, sometimes it could be nomenclature. The body of knowledge in cyber security and information security are very, very close. What I'm trying to just say, cyber security is a specific area of security, while information security is broader. Paper will never come into cybersecurity, but paper is in information security. Now, there's cybersecurity engineer, and you then compare. So what I now did was to, link them: cybersecurity analyst, information security analyst. In fact, there's IT security analyst, there's security engineer, there's cloud security engineer. But all in all, it is just telling you that these are the more frequent adverts that you will find if you're looking for a job. Okay, my time is running. Now, I then looked at, so I didn't do this analysis very deeply to say where would you find jobs or what country. I mentioned earlier that it appears that UK writes cyber security not as one word, but they write it apart. Again, I don't know whether there's any difference, but in some countries, they write it together. So you will find cybersecurity as one word and cybersecurity engineer, analyst, they are in UK, and but this is not much of information. Now, we looked at also the experience, and we could establish that don't be scared if you are a rookie, right? Don't be scared if you're a rookie. Most of the jobs are looking for people between 0 and 3 years experience. I acknowledge the fact that not a lot of people want to. In fact, there are people with 0 experience wasn't much, right? And so it is not that they don't have experience. So what I couldn't establish further is Are they talking about a zero experience in cybersecurity or a zero work experience totally? I'm not sure of that. But there were already many jobs that wouldn't mind to take you, for example, off college. So that is why I said if you're already working, it is better. If you can transition to IT, great. If you are in IT, you've not lost anything. And I've also seen that IT is usually the fastest route to security because again, what you are coming to secure is basically secure is technology. So 1 to 3 rows, 40%, 3 to 5 rows, 39%. Both of them make up 79%. So what it means basically is that out of when years of experience, 79 of the jobs would need you to have about 1 to 5 years of experience, 0 to 5 years of experience. So it's a good thing. It's also for you that is getting that you are aging, then it becomes of like a concern that, oh, what then happens if I'm already like 10 years experience? What happens? The chances are definitely slimmer. So you don't have to wait for too long if you are having interest in cybersecurity. If you have 1 or 2 years experience, it's a good time to step in, right? Don't wait till you gather all the experience because it might be difficult to get into that, and they make up 79%. So do whatever you want to do if you are making a transition. But once you get into that 7 to 10 years and above, it is not you won't find a lot of jobs that are advertised in that way. Again, it doesn't mean that there's no job. It means that it is not as rampant as the lower experience. Again, that UK cybersecurity skill identified a lot of people who were not native of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity actually is not a field that you will, or a job that you find in a lot of organizations. In fact, when I was researching it for Nigerian companies, it was very difficult. Where you will find it is in banks and maybe the fintechs. You will hardly find cybersecurity roles in advertising, for instance. You will hardly find it. So it's to let you know that in maybe in your country it is not something that you will easily find, but you can find IT and then pivot into cybersecurity because what you are coming to secure is security. I will take someone who has experience in technology compared to somebody that is coming into security directly because that knowledge is very important. And if you don't have that background, the world is open. The internet is open for you to get some, proprietary certifications like Microsoft, like Cisco. I started with Cisco, then I moved to Microsoft, right? So then before I then started doing non-proprietary exams, which are the CISM, the ISACA, and the ISOs. So you can make that shift. Now, what are the industries? So we found more jobs in IT services and consulting, a lot. Then we found a lot in financial services. Again, a lot of them also by recruiters. So recruiters are like the front for many organizations. It's until you pass through the recruiter before they then tell you this is the organization that we are recruiting for. But so there's a lot of recruiter advertising. In fact, those job sites that I shared earlier, there are lots from recruiters. Then academia, government, healthcare, legal, like I mentioned, in Nigeria, you will only find consulting, maybe consulting and financial services that would have jobs for cyber professionals. What are the certifications? So I did the top 20 certifications. What I mean top 20, it is not that it is in terms of hierarchy. this is in terms of frequency. I've been speaking for like 30 minutes. I don't even know whether people are hearing me. One person can unmute and confirm that I'm speaking to you and not to myself. Hello? Is it possible to get a feedback?
Yes. If anyone has a question, they can raise their hand.
Okay.
Permit them to unmute.
All right. I will allow 10 minutes at the end of my presentation. I know we have spent almost an hour now, so I'll rush through the rest. So now continuing the top. So like I said, this top is not about importance, it's about frequency. So you have OCWE. I think I can't remember it, but I have it in my notes. Let me just check so that I can give complete information in terms of the certification. That is number 20. So it's offensive security web expert. That is the 20th in terms of if you pick up a job, if you pick up an advert, that's what you will. Then there's CCNP. CCNP is a Cisco Certified Network Professional. I don't know what they call them now. When I did mine, I did CCNP Security. Right, because after I finished my CCNA, I said and I saw that the next direction was CCNP, which is routers and switching. And I said, I don't want to do what a lot of people are doing. So I spoke to a friend and he said, CCNP is the direction. If you do CCSP, you may not find a job. And I said, well, I would like to get a job, but I like areas that people are not much interested in. And this was around 2000 and 2008 or 9. I can't remember. Maybe 2009 or so. I said I won't find a job. But I said, well, I know I'll find a job, but I'm more curious about the area that people are not going into. So CCNP security may be more appropriate. Then we have CCSK, which I think is the cloud security. Yeah, certificate of cloud security knowledge. Yeah. Then CPENT. So I'm new to some of these certification. I don't do them again. Certified penetration tester. Yeah. Then CCIT. CCIT is CREST Certified Infrastructure Tester. And little wonder that pen tester was one of the top jobs. So you have seen two penetration testing job. Then you have, I think that's CompTIA security, CompTIA cyber security analyst. Yeah, there was a friend that spoke because I hadn't seen CompTIA before as one of the major until I studied it. So he called me and he wanted to just find some idea about the security, and I told him that, oh, I'm not sure about CompTIA. After I finished this research, I had to call him and tell him, I had to send him a message. I said, oh, I think you're on the right path. CompTIA is one of the top in that field. Then there's PCI. You know, PCI is the payment card industry. So every organization that is into payment and processes or stores card or collect card information must have PCI DSS. So PCI comes. The CCNA is there. CH CCSP. CCSP will be the Certified Cloud Security Professional. Then the GDPR. Now, some of these also are mentioned as in terms of knowledge, that you must have knowledge in GDPR or ethical hacking or CCNA or payment card. Now, the next one is CRISC. I was a bit surprised that CRISC will make the list, right? Because CRISC is certified in risk and information system controls. Yeah, I think it's control, not I think it's systems. Yeah, system controls. It is not security control or system control, but again, the controls are technology, so they are system basically. So CRISC made the list. Then OSCP Gone is GIAC. So GIAC is one of those organizations that have a lot of certification. So we have GIAC, which is assessing and auditing, GIAC assessing and auditing wireless network. Then there's CompTIA. So CompTIA, again, I was shocked by CompTIA making the list of even 3 of CompTIA certificates on top 3. So I was pleasantly surprised, right? So CompTIA, the CASP there is CompTIA Advanced Security Practitioner, right? Then CISA made the list. And people will also wonder why CISA. Again, because of CISA is auditing and it provides assurance for technology systems. So I'm not surprised. Then you have season and you have ISO was mentioned a lot. In fact, ISO 27001 is actually the I'll call it the main cybersecurity management or cybersecurity most sought after knowledge that they expect. And the body of knowledge is a lot. So you will find in there physical security, you find supply chain, you find business continuity, you find personnel, so it's a lot. And then you have the CISSP. Now, it doesn't mean that you should go and write CISSP tomorrow, because again, there's even some requirement before you write it, season and all of these things. What it's saying is that most jobs have this as their requirement. Again, if you check the 16 specialty area, it will tell you the kind of certification you should go for. So if you check it and your area is threat hunting or vulnerability management, you may not necessarily go for CISSP. Again, I couldn't map certifications to those areas because what I wanted to do was just the sought after skill. Maybe if I'm going to publish the next one or do another research, we can then map certifications to area. But for now, this is just where we want to stop it. So CISSP is top. So if you have it, it means that you have a good leg in the door. And season CISA ISO 27001. Now, when we talk about security frameworks, these are the framework that are mentioned in vacancies, and some of them are country specific. I am trying to look for the meaning of PPEDA or pipe DA. I think, sorry, excuse me for a second. I'm looking for what that pipe DA mean. It is Personal Information Protection and Electronic Document Act. I cannot remember the country now, but it's either US or Canada, right? You can check. I think it's either US or Canada, but it made the list. There's high tech. High tech there is, I think it's also one is Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act. So if you are a professional and you are seeking information security role in health, this is something you need to think about. Also, HIPAA is another one in health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Then you have the FedRAMP is their US related, and this is CMMC. I think CMMC is the maturity, is the cybersecurity maturity model certification. There is a NCSC. NCSC is for UK, is for the National Cyber Security Council. Of course, GDPR, and depending on the country you are in, if you are in Nigeria, it's NDPR. Canada have its own, UK have its own UK GDPR, US have its own also. Going forward, then we have PCI DSS, we have OWASP. I'm sure you know the top, I think the top 10, they've gone to top 25 in some of the population that I've seen. Then there you have the FFIEC, Cybersecurity Assessment Tool. Then you have the FAIR framework. FAIR, I'm trying to look for the meaning. It's one of those area that it's used to provide some kind of a measurable assessment of the risk that exists in cybersecurity space. And I've seen jobs that specifically ask for experience in FAIR. All right. Going forward, I then we have the COVID. So you'll be familiar with COVID if you're in technology. It's control objectives for information and related technology. That is why I said technology guys are really, really the people that come into IT security, and they do well in it because they also kind of use them for dual responsibility. The survey, sorry, the job skills that was advertised um, says that a lot of people are playing dual role. So they play cybersecurity role and they play IT roles. All right. We're wrapping up. Now, so if you're into vulnerability management, the CVE, CVSS, and CWE, they are very good for you. So Microsoft today, there's Patch Tuesday. When they release patches, they will also tell you the VSS, which is the score, and then they help you to know. So the scoring will tell you this vulnerability affects integrity, confidentiality, or availability of the information system. So it's very good. CIS control, it was 20. They call it 20 critical control. So if you go for job interview, don't go mention 20. It is now 18. You can go check it out. cissecurity.org.com. It's free, and you can download it and register for updates. ISO 27001, Meta attack, and there's another one also, defend. It also was mentioned a lot. And this really, people that are in penetration testing, threat hunting, vulnerability management is again, I did not match the certifications frameworks with the areas, what's it called now, the job, or the security areas. The number one cybersecurity framework is NIST. NIST is that body of knowledge. So NIST has a NIST cybersecurity framework. There's NIST, the most popular NIST is 853, and a lot of them. So a lot of American organizations request for NIST, UK too, and Canada. 853 is the most popular. And then there's NIST CSV, which is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. There's 1.0 now, or 1.1. Currently, they are working on producing 2.0. In fact, I think November or October is the last date for accepting feedback, and they're going to publish it soon. So, and they are trying to introduce governance. They start from protect, detect, and respond, recover, and all those 5 areas. So they are introducing governance. So they are basically taking some part of the others and creating governance out of it. So cybersecurity framework, NIST is actually the most mentioned in jobs. Now, the security tools, I think this is the second to the last slide. Yes, I think so. We're almost done. NIST, security tools. Nexus is number one in terms of the tools that they expect you to know. And Nexus is very much linked to vulnerability. So threat hunters, penetration testers, ethical hackers will use Nexus a lot. Some people in security compliance or security governance will also use Nessus. Qualys is there, Metasploit, AWS, Splunk. I saw an ad or a call for people to come and write Splunk certification. So if you're interested, go. I know it's a trap. They want to get it in and start charging you but it's good for you to have it, even though you probably have to pay maintenance fee. Then there's SIM. SIM was mentioned a lot. There's Bosssuit, Wireshark, and so in case you want to learn, these are the tools that you should be able to have on yours. In fact, even on your CV, it will not be surprising that some of the things that they use to screen people out is to search whether they have some of these things on their job, on their CV. Now, some of the tools will help you to prevent, some will help you to detect and monitor, while some is for compliance, depending on your area. So it is not mandatory that you know everything, because again, you can't know it all. Just focus on the ones that are in your area. There are some that are used for log. right? Accountability. There are some that are used for dictating vulnerabilities. There are some that is for protection, like the likes of McAfee is to help you protect endpoint. Where Shark is used for the guys that are in ethical hacking and the rest, monitoring and studying traffic. Now, what are the other requirements that I saw? I saw that most of them would ask for first degree, some ask for masters, and very, very few ask for a PhD. And the degrees, some will just say first degree, but some are specific to say computer networking, computer security, information technology, right? And some will require you to be a citizen, and some will require security clearance. So for UK, for instance, they will require that you're either a UK citizen or you have security clearance. Security clearance, some of them, they require that you must have been in the UK for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, depending on level, because they protect that the data is about their citizen, and therefore they want to make sure that you have the right clearance before you can do it. But again, like as you have seen here, we looked at the entire jobs that made up to this analysis was about 1,500. I haven't gotten about 1,008 or so. So for you to see that only 152 was asking for security clearance shouldn't be something to discourage you. It is that there are a lot of jobs that are not requiring this requirement, that don't require this citizenship or clearance. What next? So this is the last slide. And before I say what next, is that once we complete, you're at liberty to exit, right? Because there are people that will be joining this next session, and I'm exactly going to be repeating the same thing. So I don't want to get to where people are then denied. And maybe you could stay if you want, because we have quite enough space. But this is my point. What next? We may then have specialized in the sense that I may look at the top 10 jobs here and then say, I want to bring in individuals in our space that are playing this role today in their respective organizations. So I could bring in a cybersecurity analyst that is playing the role of cybersecurity analyst, or an information security analyst, and say, guy or lady, can you tell us? So if you go into that nice framework, you will find what a cybersecurity analyst should know if they have it called out that way, or something similar, maybe security specialist or analyst. Like I mentioned, some just call it security analyst or IT security analyst. They are all the same body of knowledge. Now, I could bring in a cybersecurity analyst or an information security analyst and say, can you tell us your journey as a cybersecurity analyst and what you do on a day-to-day basis, the qualification you think that someone who wants to play this role should have, and how can they transition if they're coming from another field? Something like an interactive session that may continue. It may, so it's not a promise, because it takes a lot to even prepare for this kind of thing. So I have reached out to some of my friends. They are willing for free. So, but I also have to create time for that, right? So we are as good as achieving our objective for the cybersecurity mentoring group. We may continue if there's need to. So that's what is next. That's what is next. So you can just stay close and check. If you receive my tweets, you can then signify interest to attend. And I thank you for your attention. So I am going through the questions now, if there's any. Again, cybersecurity is not cheap. The what is it called now? Apart from the exchange rate, there's cost for maintaining your certification. One of the money that leave my account for every year that I'm not very happy about is maintaining my certification. That's why I really stopped writing. And I love to write them, but I have to maintain them. All right, so I have someone. My question is, I studied chemistry as my first degree, but I'm making effort to transition to cybersecurity, and I've started taking courses on Cisco. What are my chances of getting into cybersecurity? So first is, your first degree is not a showstopper, right? I know I have a friend that studied biochemistry, even though he's not in cybersecurity, is big time into database, right? So it is not a showstopper. What I think is your drive, your ability to demonstrate that, yeah, I may have studied chemistry, but this area is what I'm interested in. So you have um no worries, no worries. You can get in. Let me see other question. I'm going to the beginning now. I'm glad we're here. So, again, I probably will share this as a PDF eventually. Okay. Let me see. People, thank you for the Franklin. Whether it's Pipeda or Pipeda is Canada. Thank you, Ife. OSWE said is OCWE. No S. Thank you. What else? What else? I have started reading courses, studying Google and IBM on cybersecurity, also preparing for, yeah, what is advice? Yeah, I think so. If you're starting out in IT, I do not recommend certification straight away. I recommend, because IT is information technology, and it's comprised, information technology itself will be hardware and software. Let's assume you don't want to deal with hardware and you want to deal with software. You either deal with application, or you deal with database, or you deal with networking. Yeah, I'll stop at those three. Now, try and understand exactly what is database, what is application, and what is networking. Try and understand those. Once you understand them, then you can then say you want to go and write a certification in application security, or a certification in network security. If you don't have that foundation in IT, please try and get that understanding of IT before you then know the path you want to follow. Again, Microsoft certifications, Cisco certification, they are proprietary. What I mean is that if Microsoft shuts down today, right, it's almost like, again, it's not useless, because some of the knowledge you can take it to other products. But if Microsoft shuts down today, it's almost like you're going to then need another certification. That's why the likes of ISACA and ISCW, they are different. Theirs is not proprietary. They are not, their body of knowledge is not focusing on a particular product. Theirs is general. So ISCW is good, but I also encourage you, if you, Microsoft is also very good. I discovered that a lot of people are using Microsoft security now. So Azure came up a lot. In fact, Azure was the single name that I saw a lot in our search. Can you kindly shed more light on how front-end developer is related? Excellent. So as a developer, you build application, basically. And I think I saw a path for developer. So it's there, right? You can either be a software assessor, a security assessor, which I think ISC squared have a certification for people that are into development and software. So yeah, there's a path in as a developer in cybersecurity. A lot of products. Product today is software, basically. So that product, before it becomes a product, the building of the product is by someone that has done development. But when you build it, you also need, because the bad guys will want to break it. So the guys that help you to make sure that you build something that is time tested, with the confidentiality and integrity and availability, they work in that space. So again, there's front end, there's back end. I don't know the difference, but I'm sure you have a space in that area. Let me see. Okay, somebody is saying stick to one. Well, people are combining both. There are people that are into database and they are doing database security. So it depends on your interest. Okay, I think we are done. I think we are done with this set. We can stop recording now. We will just wait for another 5-10 minutes, then we'll kickstart the second session. So we have exactly